The race for the White House now. Polls open, as we said, here in New York, the home state of both frontrunners. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton favored to win, but the latest national polls show Bernie Sanders pulling close to even. And ABC's Cecilia Vegas here with the latest. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hey, George, good morning to you. Clinton does still hold a strong lead in these polls here in New York, but the pressure is definitely on. This has been the nastiest leg of this campaign so far, a fight over who's the real New Yorker, a must-win for both sides, and it all comes to a head today. In his final Empire State pitch,
and you all look like you want a political revolution.
Bernie Sanders taking his revolution to the masses, thousands turning out for his last New York rally.
I say to corporate America, get nervous if Bernie Sanders is elected president.
But while Sanders took his message to the streets, Hillary Clinton took her opponent to task.
I couldn't believe it when Senator Sanders said the parents of the Sandy Hook children did not deserve their day in court.
Hitting her rival across the aisle, too, in this radio interview.
Does Donald Trump scare you? I think he's the donkey of the decade.
Clinton taking a sweeter approach on the campaign trail.
That's a victory! Yay! I was going to take it to go, but it was like in front of me, and I had to start eating.
What's the calorie count?
And laughing it off on Colbert.
It's awkward eating in front of the press.
You want to use a fork?
Yes, that's always good to use a fork.
Got a fork.
Yeah.
Then you want to take off just a little bit off the top right here.
Okay.
And then just eat as much as you want.
She needs to avoid an embarrassing loss in her adopted home state. And if this slip-up is any indication, she's already hoping to move on.
I am hoping to do really well tomorrow. I'm hoping to wrap up the Democratic nomination.
And Clinton quickly added that she did not want to give the wrong impression, and she is taking nothing for granted, Robin, but perhaps a very telling slip-up there.
Perhaps. All right, Cecilia, thank you. Now to the Republicans. Donald Trump looking to bounce back with a huge win here in New York after a recent string of losses to Ted Cruz. ABC's Tom Llamas is at the polling location where Trump is casting his vote today. Good morning, Tom.
Robin, good morning to you. Sometime soon, we're expecting Donald Trump to walk into this room, pick up a ballot, and do something he's going to take great pleasure in. Walk right into that booth and vote for Donald Trump. You know, when he announced his candidacy, few thought he would make it this far, and almost no one thought now he'd be a frontrunner. On this election day, Donald Trump expects only one thing: loyalty.
No New Yorker can vote for Ted Cruz, and no New Yorker can vote from Kasich.
Trump promising supporters a win in New York puts him on the path to a showdown in November against Hillary Clinton.
We're going to win, and we're going to beat crooked Hillary so badly that your heads will spin.
But still in the way, Senator Ted Cruz.
Maryland is a battleground.
He's moved on from New York, where Trump is expected to shut him out and slow down Cruz's momentum after the Texas senator strategically rounded up delegates in states not holding primaries. I asked Trump about Cruz's delegate strategy. Is he the real deal maker right now behind the scenes?
No, I'm leading by millions of votes and by 200 delegates. No, we're doing really well.
Part of Trump's success in New York, turning around Cruz's attacks on New York values. Trump invoking the response to 9/11 as real New York values. But overnight, Trump trying to make that point, but mistakenly invoking a convenience store.
And I watch our police and our firemen down in 7-Eleven, down at the World Trade Center, right?
Trump later correcting himself, but the 7-Eleven flub going viral. All right, and now we've also understood that as he's on the cusp of his biggest victory yet, Donald Trump's campaign is hitting the reset button. New staffers are being brought in, led by Paul Manafort, and overnight, his field director, Trump's field director, has told ABC News that he is resigning. It's unclear if more changes are on the way. George?
Yeah, that could just be the beginning. Thanks, Tom. Let's dig into this now with our political team. Let me start with Matthew Dowd right here. We just see, victory for Donald Trump here in New York, not in doubt. But he's close to a clean sweep.
Yeah, he's got to be careful not to be sloppy in the course of this. No, he needs an 8 in front of his number. He needs at least 80-something delegates in this state to go forward. He still has, as we know, the possibility of clinching the nomination before July. I think really he can't get it by June 7th, but he needs to start that process tonight with a large victory that, as I say, needs to have it be in the 80s on the number of delegates he gets.
And John Carl, he's got a good week set up next week as well here in the Northeast. After that, the calendar gets tougher for him, and I was struck by something Mitt Romney said yesterday, sort of repeating his call that either Ted Cruz or John Kasich has to get out of this race if you want to block Trump.
Yeah, and I think Mitt Romney is exactly wrong on this, by the way, because the only way to defeat Trump is to keep him from getting 1237 by the end of this process. So when you have more opponents, it's harder for Trump to do that. If Trump gets a head-to-head race against Ted Cruz, his victories will be bigger. Not every Kasich voter is magically going to go to Ted Cruz. So actually, it's Trump who needs Kasich to get out of this race.
Meantime, to stay on the Democratic side, you showed that slip from Hillary Clinton last night. It betrays a big confidence right now in the Clinton camp. They really want to pivot after tonight.
Oh, they certainly do, and you're already sort of starting to see her do that. Her narrative throughout New York has very much been Trump, 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 Trump. But privately, they are saying the margins will be much closer tonight than the polls show her going in, so they're bracing for that. And we did the math. If Bernie Sanders loses by 10 points tonight, he needs to win 80% of the remaining delegates to clinch this nomination. If he doesn't win tonight, the big question is what happens next. It's going to be impossible.
And just real quickly, Matt, she does need that because this primary fight is really taking a toll on her overall favorability.
Yeah, they say when a candidate accidentally slips, they accidentally are telling the truth, which she did last night. I think they're very frustrated. The Clinton campaign is very frustrated. They want to put this away. They thought they'd put it away, but she needs a victory tonight for her to go forward.
Okay, thank you all very much. Hillary Clinton's going to join us live Thursday for our Coffee with the Candidates town hall to answer your questions.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
We do say Good Morning America on this Tuesday morning. Big day in the race for president. The polls are open right now in New York.
Let's take a look at some of the polling places. The candidates crisscrossing the state right now. There's Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. There's Chappaqua, New York, where Hillary Clinton will vote today. Donald Trump in Manhattan, that synagogue in Manhattan right there. Both candidates making some headlines overnight. Donald Trump getting a little flack for a slip he made on 9/11, and Hillary Clinton under pressure from Sanders in a new poll.
So we'll have the latest on all that coming up. But first, we want to get to that record-breaking deadly flooding in Houston. We're hearing from the reporter behind that dramatic rescue. More are underway right now. ABC's Rob Marciano has the latest and joins us this morning from Houston. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Rob. In the last 24 hours, dramatic, life-threatening moments happening here. This is the main bayou that runs through Houston, and shortly after that torrential rain, it rose 25 feet in just a few hours, since receding, but causing this city to be engulfed, and throughout much of southeast Texas, sheer chaos.
The water is rushing by them right now.
Torrential rains terrorizing much of Texas. This couple trying to escape the floodwaters. Their boat overturned.
Thank God we made it.
Flash flooding leading to a massive number of first responders rescuing people trapped in floodwaters.
Please remember the easy phrase, turn around, don't drown. Stay out of the rising water.
The governor declaring a state of emergency in 8 counties after 240 billion gallons of rainfall drenched the Houston area. Neighbors coming together at this apartment complex carrying babies to safety. Some even using refrigerators as rafts. Hundreds of children rescued from the rising waters.
They had water up to their chest.
Tractor trailers making waves and sending this abandoned car floating. This semi engulfed in rushing waters. ABC's Houston KTRK reporter covering the historic floods, becoming part of the story.
Swim! Come here, sir. Come here. Thank you.
Moments later, that car going under.
I had no idea that it was going to go so deep.
These underpasses can just be filled with water and turn into a deadly situation.
From this drone footage, the devastation can be seen for miles. More than 1,000 homes flooded, cars swept off the roads. And watch this dramatic scene. A young woman hanging onto the mane of a horse, trying to get him to dry ground. The horse rearing and thrashing after hitting a submerged fence, but eventually making it to dry land. And here is the headline from the Houston Chronicle. In a flash, that's exactly what happened. And there was a flash flood watch out for this area, but no one expected a foot of rain to fall across the Houston area in less than 12 hours. In some areas, 17 inches of rainfall, George. Those areas still dealing without high waters, and there's more rain to come here in the next 48 hours.
Boy, George. No relief in sight. Okay, Rob, thanks very much.